Hey, what is up? Welcome to this episode of the Wantrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Lofermento, and I am so excited to talk to today's guest because this is a very seasoned entrepreneur that makes me feel like there's two sides to this coin. Is one, this is someone who knows how to build a sustainable business over the long term, but two, it also shows that he has to have at least one eye on the future, and that is so revealing in the type of work that he does because we're definitely going to be talking about AI today. We're definitely going to be talking about scale today. We're going to be talking about all the great things that today's guest has built. So let me introduce you to Artie Chang. Artie is the president and CEO of PanTerra Networks, which is a pioneer in unified cloud communications and AI-powered customer engagement. With decades of experience leading and scaling tech companies, Artie has been at the forefront of innovation, building the first RAID 5 systems to helping define different categories when it comes to implementations that positively affect the customer experience. Today, he leads the development of Streams.AI, which is an all-in-one communications platform featuring Luna, a conversational AI receptionist that's transforming how businesses connect with customers. Artie brings deep technical knowledge and a customer-first mindset to everything that he builds. So we're going to talk both long-term, we're going to talk the future, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship in general. I'm excited about this one. I'm not going to say anything else. Let's dive straight into my interview with Artie Chang. All right, Artie, I am so very excited that you're here with us today. First things first, welcome to the show.
Great to be here with you.
Heck yes. I'm excited to get your backstory because obviously you're up to some really cool and innovative things business-wise. But before we get to the business, take us beyond the bio. Who is Artie? How did you start doing all these cool things?
Yeah, well, it starts a long time ago. My first job was actually with Bell Labs. And Bell Labs was a research arm of AT&T, the large communication giant. And I learned a lot back then building what we call 5 ESS systems, which ran the phone system. So I'm steeped in communication from day one. And when I joined PanTerra many years ago, I was intrigued with their total philosophy and DNA of being in the cloud, moving all of the services from hardware on premise to actually moving communications to be delivered in the cloud. And Streams.AI is a personification of that. It's using AI technology in the cloud to enhance customer engagement across all business communication services. So that's what I'm excited about and happy to be chatting with you today.
Yeah, likewise, Artie, because that background is so interesting. I feel like it's especially interesting now because we're both able to look backwards with regards to technology and where it's been, but I feel like there's so many question marks moving forward, and that's why I want to piggyback off of your personal background because you were at the precipice of a lot of changes in the technology world, whether it's in the world of communications, obviously the advent of the internet. I'm just old enough to remember 56K dial-up modem. So, Artie, how do you compare where we are now midway through 2025 with where we were, in the 90s when communications were changing? Obviously, cell phones were coming about. The internet was coming about. How does this current time period compare?
There are a lot of differences and a lot of similarities. I mean, the similarities are, even back then, I also remember the start of the internet and when DARPA sent their first messages, and I actually had one of the first Motorola brick phones, cell phones, and we felt back then technology was moving lightning fast, and so those are the similarities as of today, because I think your viewers and your speakers alike will probably say that technology is moving very fast. AI is moving incredibly fast, but technology has really always been moving very fast. The similarities are people adapt and people drive innovation and people accept innovation. And as entrepreneurs, we have to be able to not only look backwards and learn, look forwards and imagine and be visionary. But those are the similarities, whether it's back in the late 90s or early 2000s or 2010s or even in this decade. that we're living in now.
Yeah, which, speaking about living in now, obviously as the host of a business podcast, I get questions from listeners. I obviously have amazing conversations with pioneers such as yourself in different industries, and words that I see popping up surrounding AI involve security. Obviously, people are wondering what is happening with all of this data. Job replacement. People are worried. How's AI going to impact the economy on a macro level? Artie, you obviously are deep inside the world of AI, rolling it out in ways that enhances the customer's engagement with businesses that they're working with. What's your take on AI, the state of it today, and really that, well, I was going to tee you up to say the positive aspects of it, but actually if you've got concerns there, I'd love to hear both sides, the pros and the cons of AI from your perspective.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of benefit from AI in terms of customer engagement and in communications, more efficient, intuitive communications, which is what we're all about with rolling out Streams.AI to our customer base. It's all about making our customers more effective, more efficient. It's really not about displacing employees. It's really about making employees more efficient, more effective, and more productive. And in reality, whether it's AI or all the tools before AI, that's really what our businesses are all about, are making our customers more productive, more efficient, more effective with their customers and their partners and their employees. So we're really not about displacing employees. Now, will there be, as AI evolves into agentic AI and more robust versions of agents, AI agents, again, we don't see that much displacement going on. Again, just better use of what people are better at doing, which is the more nuanced assistance in terms of people interactions. So that's what we see happening, and we're excited about where the future is going. Do I have concerns? You know, as someone who's steeped in the technology and seeing where the technology is going, there are certainly ramps or directions that can be more nefarious with AI, whether it's nefarious actors trying to gain information illegally, whether it's having bad actor or hallucinogenic agents. But I'm optimistic about the future of AI. As with any of the technologies in the past, humans have always been able to harness and really bring out the best of the technologies. And I think that's what's going to happen with AI.
Yeah, that's so well said. I love that hopeful view of the future, and obviously you are part of what that future is going to look like. I want to go deeper into Streams.AI because I obviously got my hands on an embargoed press release, so I have my hands on a few of what's coming ahead in the future, but obviously Luna is at the center of so much of what you're doing. Luna is your conversational AI receptionist. Artie, a lot of people, especially business owners, tuning into today's conversation between us, they're going to be wondering, what are the limitations? What are the capabilities? How much can I unleash? Because an AI receptionist, I love the humanization there in the fact that that's a job function. That's an actual role that Luna can fulfill within our businesses. What is Luna capable of doing? How much can we lean on an AI receptionist to handle these things for us?
This is where we didn't just take technology and throw technology against the wall and see what stuck. We really took the time. We have over 2,500 customers, and we took the time to listen to our customers. And in the mid-market, there is some trepidation about AI, about hallucinations, about AI receptionists kind of going AWOL or going rogue. And so we took more of a crawl, walk, run approach to Luna, where we provided it capabilities to answer and route calls based on presence, to answer and route calls based on conversational context, which is one of the key features or tasks that a receptionist does. It can also handle basic company information. It can handle holiday scheduling and rerouting. It can even route to a human receptionist based on sentiment, real-time sentiment value. So if Luna senses that the customer is getting frustrated, or it's looping through the same tasks, then it can actually sense that and automatically route to a human. So we've taken kind of the basic tasks. We really want to make it bulletproof, so it can't hallucinate, it can't go rogue. And then we're going to build on that as we get more and more experience with our customer base. We're going to build Luna into a much more powerful agentic agent, a receptionist. But that's really something that we want to take our time and make sure our customers feel comfortable with the first instantiation of Luna.
Yeah, I really appreciate those insights. We obviously talk about within the world of AI how important the inputs are, because if we put trash in, we're going to get trash out. Obviously, you've revealed some of it with us here today, that it's going to be able to leverage our internal knowledge base, our internal documents, that Luna actually uniquely knows about our businesses to handle these various use cases. What's that training look like? What's it look like to inject an AI receptionist into our existing businesses? I'm curious how much setup is involved in that.
That's a great question, because that was one of the concerns that our customer base had, is how much setup, how much teaching, how much learning, how much content does it have to be provided, and what means and ways. And that segues perfectly into our other major feature of Streams.AI. We totally reimagined and reinvented the administration portal. And the administration portal for Streams.AI is now AIdriven itself. And part of that portal is the Luna setup aspect. And we use a lot of AI-based task management in setting up Luna so that it's super intuitive for our customers and super easy. They just point Luna to their own website and to a few documents, either can be loaded via PDF or Microsoft Word or any relevant format, and Luna will scrape all that content and compile it into its LLM itself. So there's very little setup. It's super intuitive. It takes probably a total of 5 to 10 minutes of an administrator's time, and Luna can be up and running. And because you can have an unlimited number of Luna instances, you can have, for example, if you're a company that has let's say you're an auto parts store and you have 100 stores spread out across the United States, you can have Luna geographically specific versions at each location that has location-specific information. It could have hours of operation information, inventory content, and that's the powerful thing about Luna, is that it can really be customized so that the customer can engage their customers in a much more meaningful, efficient, effective manner.
Yeah, one thing that stands out to me, Artie, in talking to you, even this early on in our conversation, how many of the times when I ask you a question, you go back to feedback from your customers. If we zoom out, obviously your role as CEO of a tech company, it's not just to be technically savvy. It is for you to really understand the business and to understand your clientele and customers. What's that side of your brain look like? Because in order to properly function as a CEO, you're obviously thinking about a lot of things. How are you soliciting? How are you interpreting and filtering and making sense of all the different things that you hear from your real life customers, especially at scale? Obviously, you guys at PanTerra have so many clients at scale, so I'm curious to hear about that.
Yeah, it really goes to the heart of our company, the philosophies that we build on. And I'll just give you one example. We have a philosophy that we drive home to every employee that comes on board, which is, how do you make great decisions? If you think about every day, you're making tens to hundreds of decisions. And if you're like me, we can sit back and reflect and say, oh, that wasn't a really great decision, or that wasn't my best decision I could have made. And so at PanTerra, we strive to drive every decision to be a great decision. And whether that's trying to decide what technology we use or trying to decide what features we build into the product, we're always trying to make it a great decision. And so our philosophy goes like this: to make a great decision, you make a good decision and you refine it over time. And those two aspects are very powerful. The first part, make a decision. So we truly subscribe to the concept of no decision is a bad decision, or paralysis by analysis is a bad way to not make decisions. So you have to make a decision. Here is moving fast, and so making decisions are generally initially going to be good decisions, not great decisions. So to make it a great decision, you refine it over time. And what that means is you're constantly taking input. You're taking input from your customer base. You're taking input from your partner base. You're taking input from other employees. And that, by refining your decision over time, it might be a feature. For example, it might be a timeline or a task list. But taking input over time and refining it over time will drive that good decision to be a great decision. And I think that's one of the things that's fundamental to every employee at PanTerra, and why we're delivering solutions that our customers are excited about.
Yeah, I really love those insights, Artie, because in my early 20s, I remember I was at a business conference and I asked one of the speakers while he was rushing off the stage, I was like, let me get one quick question. What is a piece of advice that you would offer to a young entrepreneur like me? And he said, make a decision and then make the decision right. And I really sat with that and I was like, what is that? Does that just mean make the right decision? But it's so in line with what you're sharing with us today, is make a decision. You can then pivot and adapt from that decision to make that decision right. It doesn't mean you always have to make that right decision, but inevitably, and I would imagine especially in your world of tech, things break and things go wrong. So I would love to get inside that part of your world and how you make those pivots, because obviously PanTerra, where it was when you started versus where it is today and all the new things that you guys are rolling out behind the scenes, there have been pivots and failures and challenges along the way. Give us some insights there.
I think that's the key aspect, is that you're refining every decision over time. You're owning it. I can't tell you how many countless decisions where we started out in one direction, and by taking new input, new competitive data, new customer input, new technology inputs, we refined over time, and we may have ended up 180 degrees or 130 degrees from where we started. And so that is really what keeps us moving, we think, in the right direction. And I think the one aspect or common thread or theme across all those decision making processes is the word passion. We're passionate about what we do. And I think, that's a word that every entrepreneur should embrace. That's agnostic to technology. It's agnostic to any individual customer. It just means that you have just an undying commitment to delivering excellence and to do it in the time frame that's necessary, and to keep moving forward even if you get knocked down. Passion is really what drives us. I have another anecdote. I remember when I first started my career, I used to, when I had early morning meetings, I would set my alarm clock. But as I grew in my career, I found my way into the area that I really wanted to focus in. I found that my passion was my alarm clock. So I've really never had an alarm clock for the last 20 years. I just get up because I'm excited every day to come to work and to be with the people that I love and enjoy being with, and to meet the customers and partners that help fuel our success and help us deliver the best solutions out there.
Yes, so well said. Right in line with that very famous quote of, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I love the fact that even for you, at the scale that you're operating at, Artie, is that you still feel that level of excitement. And part of what I would imagine is exciting is you obviously have that one eye on the future, something that I teased at the very top of today's episode. But I feel like you're in that unique position where obviously you've grown a sustainable business, which speaks a lot to your track record about thinking long term. However, at the same same time, you have to have that eye on the future, which the future is, it's very malleable, to say the least. We have no idea where the world, where AI, where technology is going to be 12 months from now. How do you balance those two? Are they two somewhat opposing forces in the fact that you're thinking about your business long term while also navigating tech shifts? Or are they two in the same, that you're always trying to stay one step ahead versus that reactive mindset? It's a loaded question and a bit philosophical, but I'd love to hear how you navigate that.
Yeah, I think it's all about getting inputs from various places, and whether it's, scraping the internet, talking to industry analysts and industry experts, again, talking to your customer base, whether it's the CTO of the customer as a more long-term vision for what they're looking for, or whether it's the VP of IT who's really struggling with today's tasks and today's challenges. It's really assembling and aggregating input from multiple sources, and then internalizing it and understanding what is you as a company, what is your unique value, what is your technology stack and ownership look like, and how those two things meld together and adjust over time is what defines the success of the company. So I think that you're right, that we have to always keep one eye towards the future, and whether that's a 1 to 2 year outlook, a 2 to 3 year outlook, or a 5+ year outlook, and bring in inputs from many, many, many different areas. AI is a perfect example of that. If you listen to Bill Gates, he says there's only 3 job functions that will survive AI. And I love Bill Gates. He's been right a lot. He's had some wrong things. He kind of missed the internet completely in the early stages, and so we just have to take multiple levels of input and aggregate themselves, and always keep talking, always be passionate, and always drive good decisions to be great ones.
Yeah, so well said, Artie. It really makes me think of that notion. I'm totally going to botch the quote, so I'm just going to paraphrase of, at any given moment in time, we're all growing 2 businesses simultaneously. The business that we have today and the business that we're going to have 5 years from now. And I feel like that's such a testament to your leadership style and your executive mind. And when I think about that, even in today's conversation, you've kind of teased the next frontier for Luna and for Streams.AI is you're already thinking about agentic AI. And obviously you and I are talking about Streams.AI here today in real time, but Streams.AI didn't pop up yesterday. You guys have been thinking about this behind the scenes for so long, and building it and incorporating real life customer problems. What's that process looked like? Because I find it so fascinating that you as the CEO, you obviously have that eye on the future of agentic AI, but what got you here to this point of Streams.AI being a reality? And then what are those building blocks that you already are looking at in the future to already incorporate those? Are they already in development, already in testing? Take us behind the scenes.
Yeah, we constantly have, a rolling development timeline with multiple products pipelined in. And, part of my job is to challenge the engineering and the development team, the product development teams. I'm constantly asking questions and challenging. And the other thing, which I don't think we as technology people do, is I'm constantly listening to the feedback. So I'm listening to the feedback. I'm incorporating that listening. What's doable, quote, and what's not doable. What is fungible and can be doable if more resources or less resources are applied. So it's a constant give and take. It's a constant exchange. We have a lot of great developers in our company, and sometimes their challenge is to take their good decisions and make them great decisions, because sometimes engineers can be stubborn, and they can say, gee, I have this goal and that's my goal, and they don't want the second half of how you make a great decision. They don't want to take input and adjust. So it's always a give and take. We're constantly looking at the new technologies of AI, the agentic AI, and the full-blown Sentinel AI, and how it's going to come. But we have to keep an eye towards what customers are concerned about and what their intrepidations are about AI. And so that constant push and pull is there. It's good for the company because it allows us to, I think, eventually create great decisions in product and in feature sets.
Yeah, I love that answer, Artie. I'm so grateful for you taking us behind the scenes. I feel like I have to go here with you on the air because we don't frequently do it, but knowing that you're operating at the scale that you're at, you're responsible for so many different facets of your business, both now and long into the future, which has been on display here. We've been inviting listeners over the course of 2025 to step into that CEO role. And obviously you've been doing it so successfully with PanTerra. So Artie, I've got to ask you, what does that CEO function in that role look like? Are you carving out executive time on a weekly basis? Are there certain questions that you're asking yourself internally? You've talked about obviously soliciting feedback from others, but for listeners who are still kind of, I'm going to throw a little bit of shade at that term entrepreneur, who are still thinking in that pure entrepreneur's mindset instead of the CEO, that full ownership, that boss role in their businesses, what does your CEO strategic mind look like on a weekly basis?
That's a great question, and I mentor a lot of entrepreneurs and help them move up into that CEO role. And I would say, and this also applies to me as well, that I grew up initially in the technology side. And I was an engineer and had engineering degrees, and that transition from the individual contributor, from the individual entrepreneur to the more managerial roles and ultimately to an executive role and potentially a CEO role, that transition really requires you to change your value system. And what I mean by that is when I first was an engineer and individual contributor, my individual successes, my individual milestones, my individual accomplishments were what I valued the most. But as you move into management, what you really need to adjust with and accept and value is developing and growing others around you. That has to be part of your value system, and not just part. As you get higher and higher in the executive, that has to actually be your value system, is creating, growing, nurturing, and seeing success, their successes as your successes. That's what I'm probably most proud of. We have an executive team here at PanTerra that's been with me for years and years and years. Our turnover is virtually zero. And really, my success is when they succeed, when I see them, when the light bulb goes off, when they achieve a particular success, whether it's a product development success or a sales success or a support success or an operation success. Their success is in my achievement value system. And that's the big thing that I would coach individual contributors and entrepreneurs who are still in that individual contributor mode as they want to become more in the CEO role.
Boom. I love that. That is such a bigger way of thinking. And obviously, when we invite others in and we put them in positions to win, we can all win in much bigger ways. One of the founding principles behind this show is a rising tide lifts all boats. And it's right at the heart of your very leadership style. So I'm super appreciative of that. Artie, I'm going to put you on the spot one last time here with a super broad question. I always ask it at the end of every episode. And I have no idea which direction you're going to take it because you've already dropped so many nuggets of knowledge on us today. But that is, what's your one best piece of advice for listeners, knowing that we're being listened to by both wantrepreneurs and entrepreneurs at all different stages of their own growth journeys? What's that one thing that you want to leave them with today?
It's going to sound funny because our conversation to this point has been passionate. It's about right on target of technology and growing a company. I'd say the last nugget, I'm going to veer a little bit. I'm going to say balance. Be balanced. Work, your family life, your social life, it needs to all be balanced, because when you have balance, you have you maximize your passion, because you have passion across your life. And it's amazing how life integrates, the different aspects of your life integrate with each other and seamlessly ebb and flow. And so if you're not balanced, that can really take a toll on every aspect of your life. So that would be the thing that I would leave you. I'll just give you a little nugget. I actually have 10 children. And that's on the a lot side of children. They give me incredible joy. They're all adults at this point. They're all successful in their own right minds, and I just love them. And it keeps me balanced. And I can be passionate about work. I can be more passionate about work because I'm more passionate about my family life, and my wife and kids give me that fuel to power the other aspects of my life. So I would say the word balance is a key aspect to being successful.
Oh, Artie, I love that advice. You're right. It is a little bit different from what we talked about during today's conversation, but I love the way that we're ending this because it is such an important consideration. And so frequently, I mean, we've thrown that word scale out there so many times in today's conversation, and balance really is such a core component to that. As much as we want to grow and we want to grow quick, balance is so important. So I love that. I'm also super excited personally about all the things coming out of PanTerra and all the great tech that you're rolling out with Luna and your conversational AI. So Artie, for listeners who want to go deeper into the wonderful world of everything that your team is building and launching at scale, drop those links on us. Where should listeners go from here?
Sure. I mean, our website is a great place to start. It's www.PanTerraNetworks.com. And so you can start there, and we're excited to engage with you and to see how we can help you.
Yes, and listeners, you already know the drill. We're dropping that link down below in the show notes, no matter where it is that you're tuning into today's episode. Doesn't matter if you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, that link is going to be down below directly to PanTerra's website. You can check out Streams.AI, all the stuff that they're rolling out there, as well as all their cloud-based secure communication tools. So much goodness in the business world, and you've heard the CEO directly here in today's episode and how much he not only knows, but loves business. So Artie, on behalf of myself and all the listeners worldwide, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.